So far, we've discussed planning your story and making the story the best it could possibly be. When you've decided on your story structure, the emotional triggers that you want to drive, and the effect that you want to have on your audience, it's time to focus on the delivery itself. Now, body language and tone and congruency is essential. So here in this module, we're going to discuss how to get the best out of your body language when you're delivering. The communication pie, which is widely used in all presentation, meetings and storytellings, is to describe and show, to illustrate exactly which percentages of our message is given through our body, our voice and tone and our words. Now this chart actually shows when there is a mismatch. For example, if I was looking tired and solemn, but my words were saying, "I'm so happy, I'm having a fantastic day," even though there my tone may have matched my words, my body wasn't, because I was hunched over and not looking very confident or pleased. So what this pie chart actually shows is that your words become less effective. Actually, they turn into 7% of your overall message unless your body and your voice and tone are congruent with the message that you're delivering. I urge you to watch this presentation and story by Amy Cuddy, who's a psychologist, author and speaker renowned throughout the world. Now she actually did a high power versus low power psychological study and showed that high power poses, as you can see in the top row there, versus low power poses, as you can see in the bottom row, they made the testosterone in everyone's body who took the experiment raise by 20%. Now, testosterone is linked to confidence, whereas cortisol, as we discussed earlier, is linked to anxiety. Now, if you put your body into a high power pose, it decreases cortisol levels and increases testosterone. So if you're feeling nervous or anxious before your presentation, then putting your body into this power pose will actually increase your confidence before you deliver your message. It doesn't just work the other way around, and that's the main point that I'd like to make from this slide. So for example, if we're feeling unhappy, distressed, anxious, our body will go in to the row on the bottom. We will start to adopt these power poses because that is what our body is conditioned to do. So by changing it, by confusing, if you'd like to look at it that way, by confusing our body and our normal natural conditioning, by putting our body into a confident pose, it works in the other way, which will actually make us feel more confident and powerful. So try this. If you're feeling a bit anxious before you deliver your story or presentation, stand in a power pose, stand in a confident position, or sit in a confident position for even just a few minutes. I usually do it for 2 to 3 minutes. A power pose. I actually stick my hands up in the air into the most confident position I possibly can and hold it for 3 minutes. And also I try to smile because that will naturally make you feel happier and more confident. So try it, see if it works for you. Now when you're actually telling your story, keep an open body. Avoid crossing your arms and legs because this shows that you're not open to others. You want them to be open to you, therefore you should be open to them. If you cross your arms, it shows that you're feeling threatened and you're putting up a barrier. So you want to open that barrier to remove any defensiveness or nervousness between you and your audience. In addition, it also shows a lack of professionalism because it can show that you're maybe a bit scared in what you're actually saying. So try to avoid that. Keep your arms and legs in an open position. Never cross them. Also, never turn your back on your audience, especially if you're using a PPT and it's behind you. You don't want to be reading your slides. If you do forget what you're saying, it's fine to just turn around, get your placing, get the wording, and then turn back and deliver your message. But don't turn around and read from the slides that you're using whilst your back is turned, because otherwise, when the audience is looking, they will be looking at the slides and your back rather than focusing on you. This inadvertently gives the impression that you don't care about your audience, you care more about your slides, or you're avoiding or hiding the fact that you don't know your material well enough. Always face your audience when you're delivering. Maintaining eye contact is key as well. Try and look at everyone in the room. Now obviously if you're in a large crowd of hundreds of people, this is difficult. If you are in a large crowd, then look at sections of the room and maybe divide the room into quarters or fifths and look at each fifth or quarter in succession. It doesn't have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could look and just bear in mind who you've been looking at and who you haven't been looking at. So you try and engage everybody when you are giving your presentation or story. And also if you nod your head and smile, this helps too. Avoid staring at a single spot. Again, this shows nervousness, lack of confidence, and that you haven't prepared. So yeah, keep looking around the room and facing different directions. Don't stand in the same position and spot either. Move around, but not too much, and avoid any sort of scratching or fidgeting. Just make sure that you're moving slowly and elegantly. And if you change topics, move your body as well to match those topic changes. Excessive movement. I've seen some presenters who are so excited and so dynamic with their stories that they will actually move from place to place, from corner to corner of the stage. Try and avoid that because it makes your audience feel uncomfortable, and also because they can't settle, they can't relax and enjoy the message that you're giving. They'll be focusing on your movements and where you're about to go next rather than the story that you're trying to tell. So it's going to draw them away from your words, which is again something that you don't want when telling a story. Another thing as well is to animate your facial features. Now if you're delivering to a smaller crowd, you don't need to animate them as much. However, if you're delivering to a larger crowd and your crowd is further away from you, you have to animate them more. Match your facial expressions with the message you're delivering, and also welcome any questions with a heartfelt smile as well, and even a nod to show thanks and appreciation for the person asking the question. Above all, practice. Practice your storytelling skills with anyone and everyone. Maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your colleagues, maybe it's your friends, your parents. Practice telling stories. The more you tell them, the more you will feel confident in telling them too. And the better they'll get. They'll get better every single time you tell them. I promise you that, and you'll see. But also listen to other people's stories. Go on the internet as well and listen to other people's stories. Start with Amy Cuddy. If you can, look her up on YouTube. She actually had so much emotion, she started crying within the story when she was talking about fake it till you make it in the TED Talk. So yeah, get as many stories as you can, listen to as many stories as you can, and practice as many stories as you possibly can. And soon, you will become a fantastic storyteller. If you would like more details on this course or any course, please get in touch. I love receiving questions, and I promise to get back to everyone who messages me with any questions or concerns or other courses that they'd like advice on. As you can see, I have many varied courses, all around the areas of communication, sales, presenting, EQ, and storytelling, as well as NLP. So please get in touch. We've worked with some of the largest companies across the world. We work with companies of all shapes and sizes and varying industries. The contact details will be on the next slide, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Many thanks.